Today, with the help of modern artificial intelligence, we will move back in time to London in the 1600s. We will see a world that was once real, but is now just history, brought to life through centuries-old paintings and engravings. In the 17th century, London was one of the fastest-growing cities in Europe. About 500,000 people lived here. The Thames River was the lifeblood of this city. Trade, transportation, employment, everything revolved around this river. Hundreds of ships, barges, and small boats entered the city with goods by river every day. But in the middle of this busy river stood a wonder, Old London Bridge.
Unlike today's bridges, it was not built just across the river. It was like a small city standing on water. There were rows of houses, shops, warehouses, businesses, and even places of worship on both sides. From a distance, it was not clear that it was a bridge. It seemed like another new neighborhood had been built on the river. The bridge was built on many stone arches, but these arches constricted the natural flow of the river and made it very strong. As a result, sailing under it was extremely risky. Boats could capsize at the slightest mistake, and accidents were a daily occurrence. The buildings above the bridge were several stories high. Many of the houses leaned so much towards the road that it seemed as if the buildings on both sides were about to touch each other. Horse-drawn carriages, merchants, workers, and ordinary people were constantly moving below, and above, countless people lived with their families amidst the noise. Of course, this life also came with its dangers. Because of the wooden buildings, there was always the risk of fire. Traffic jams were a regular occurrence due to the narrow streets. Still, for centuries, people chose this bridge as their home and workplace. Old London Bridge was not just a structure, it was the heart of England's economy. Grain, wood, coal, cloth, and various valuable goods from distant lands entered the city every day through this route. The Thames River connected London to Europe and the Atlantic world, and this historic bridge stood at the center of that connection. Sometimes in winter, the Thames would freeze so much that people would have to walk across it on ice. Where the river was normally a symbol of fear, the frozen ice was filled with temporary shops, crowds of people, and a festive atmosphere. At the north end of the bridge was St. Magnus Church. This was the entrance for countless travelers entering the city of London for the first time. In their eyes, this bridge was their first introduction to London.
But over time, the bridge became old. The buildings began to deteriorate, and traffic congestion became a major problem for the city. So in the mid-18th century, the authorities decided to remove the centuries-old buildings on the bridge. Between 1756 and 1762, those historic houses were demolished one by one. Gradually, London's most familiar scene changed. What made Old London Bridge extraordinary was not only its architecture, but also its living existence. Here, kings walked, merchants traded, workers earned a living, and countless ordinary people went about their daily lives. It was at the same time a street, a market, a residential area, and a symbol of a nation. Then we reached the western edge of London, where one of the most famous royal palaces in the world stands today, Buckingham Palace. But once it was just a private house, surrounded by vast green fields and gardens. Even then, this area was far from the hustle and bustle of the city. But in September 1666, London's history changed. A small fire turned into one of the most terrible urban fires in history in a few hours. The densely populated wooden houses became fuel for the fire. The narrow streets and strong winds spread the fire even faster. Only smoke, fire, and people's cries were all around. The city sky turned red. From afar, the old St. Paul's Cathedral was seen engulfed in flames. From the banks of the Thames, it seemed as if the whole of London was drowning in a sea of fire. London Bridge survived for a short time. The Tower of London was also saved from destruction at the last moment. But within a few days, a large part of medieval London was reduced to ashes. Today, that city is no more. Yet the old pictures painted on the pages of history and the reconstructions created with the help of modern AI technology take us back to that lost world. We may not be able to truly go back in time, but this experience of seeing history with new eyes makes us realize that once upon a time, every brick, every street, and every bridge in this city contained the stories of thousands of people.